when we formed the Runanga 22 years ago and we used the marae as our building blocks to do it, it was a deliberate process that was engineered by our kaumātua of the time and our leadership of the time. And those kaumātua leaders went through a robust process of discussion, of consultation, of negotiation, and there wasn't always full agreement on issues, particularly on issues around our iwitanga. But nevertheless, the discussions were so robust and so progressive that those marae, individual marae, went through a lengthy, thorough process of mandating, so that eventually they decided as a marae that they wished to use this Runanga as their iwi vehicle, as the vehicle by which they were going to progress their iwi rights as Te Rarawa. Well, in actual fact, there is no other vehicle anyhow of this nature. And that was a really, really rigorous process that every marae went through. It took a period of perhaps 2 years, I think, as we went through that process of meeting with individual marae, getting them au fait with how the Runanga was established, why it was established, whether the aspirations the Runanga held were consistent with theirs. And so each marae went through that process. One of the reasons that was talked about at the time for establishing the Runanga 22 years ago was the need to progress our claims on an iwi specific level, and that the Runanga Muri Whenua, which was the body entity charged with progressing them previously, wasn't able to achieve it for us. So part of forming our Runanga entity around the structure of our demography was about bringing the North Hokianga in line with Iko Te Ika whakapapa, and bringing the iwi of Te Rarawa back together again as one single unit and one single entity. And the way that we were going to achieve that was by empowering marae and hapu through the constitution of the Runanga, and that the Runanga would be constituted by marae membership, which was a solid, tangible entity, which was the most appropriate building block for the Runanga to be built upon. That marae then had the responsibility for engaging and relating to the iwi, to the hapu that affiliated to that marae. Some marae, of course, have got several hapu, some have only got one hapu. And that, for us, was the most appropriate building block of the Runanga. And for 22 years, we've continued to build upon that template, and have resulted in today a Runanga that is owned lock, stock and barrel by the marae and their associated hapu. So the contention that there's some kind of crown control or crown intervention or entity involved in this Runanga is absolutely incorrect. This Runanga, although it is registered under the Charitable Trust Act, is actually completely, utterly, wholly owned and controlled by its constituent marae and its constituent hapu. So when we got into negotiations and began our negotiation proper, we were mindful of the way the Runanga was constructed. We were mindful of the way the Runanga was put together constitutionally, because that was going to provide for us a template by which we would be able to provide benefits to the beneficiaries of the iwi. And this is recognising that there are iwi interests, there are iwi issues that go beyond individual whānau, that go beyond individual hapu and go beyond individual marae. So there are some things about Te Rarawa as an iwi that are an iwi issue. For example, the signing of the whakaputanga by Panakare Aotehuhu, Papahia and Te Morenga was a clear expression of our iwitanga in constitutional terms. So it's clear that we can see that even in those days there were different aspects to hapu development, different aspects to iwi development, and they were both contingent upon whānau development. And that whānau represented upon our individual marae. So when we negotiated the claim, and over the last 10 years we've been very careful to make sure that the negotiation of the claim and the redress mechanisms which we have negotiated to give effect to redress are aligned to that template. So the benefits from the settlement will flow back through the marae to the hapu and to the whānau, and that is the structure, the building blocks, if you like, of our constitutional presence that we have chosen to invest in historically, and we are choosing to invest in contemporarily.